Good morning, Jackson, and good morning, everybody else, too. Happy Sunday. My name is Reverend Kathleen Sibley. It is my joy to minister to you today. Please know that whoever you are, you're welcome here unless you're a cat. And, sorry, cats are welcome on the floor. And no matter what judgments you've had put on you, no matter who has told you that you can't jump up on the table, you're entirely welcome here, just as you are and just as you are not, because we're all here by divine appointment. Now, the Center for Spiritual Living exists to provide spiritual tools that transform our personal lives and make the world a better place. Helping us out with that is our circle of licensed professional practitioners. If there is anything going on in your life that is taking you out of your joy, please contact a practitioner. They do our ministry of prayer. So if you put something in during the week through our online prayer request, or if you call any of them during the week, they will be very happy to keep you in prayer. They also teach all of our accredited classes, like the one Hazel was talking about a moment ago, that teaches you to pray for yourself. They also have private sessions available. And so what I'd like you to know is that if December is your birthday month, then you are eligible for a free session. So please do check out the webpage with all of their contact information, see who you connect with, and get prayer, get that time and attention that allows you to prepare a way for joy to enter into your life, to create a space for that. So, I think that's everything I'm supposed to announce at the beginning, except that we all prepare that way in our own way. And we, as religious scientists at the Center for Spiritual Living, do not have any need to judge how somebody is preparing the way in their own heart and mind and soul. And so, we do this at the beginning of every service, acknowledging that the Center for Spiritual Living honors all faith traditions. As we light a candle for the world's religions, we acknowledge both our multiplicity and our unity.
We light a candle for Christianity based on the teachings of Jesus the Christ, who taught the path of love, forgiveness, and healing by the presence within.
For Islam, stop it. The practice of submitting to the will of God as revealed through his prophets, peace be upon them, who taught that there is one God, creator of the heavens and the earth.
For Judaism, a community of shared laws, traditions, and family ties, which began with the covenant between Abraham and God.
For Buddhism, the middle path that awakens mindfulness and ends suffering.
For Hinduism, the path of knowledge, action, and devotion.
For the Native American traditions, those who walk the good red road, including the ancestral caretakers of this land, the people of the sun that we know as the Yavapai.
For the Baha'i, the path of unity and peace.
For all of the goddess traditions, embracing the divine feminine as maiden, mother, and crone or wisdom keeper.
And for the science of mind, which is the philosophy of life that teaches there is a powerful good in this universe and we can use it.
And now we get to add our own voices to that litany of truth, to speak our own truth about spirit. We are here for God. Sorry. Our purpose is to express the nature of God as love, abundance, and joy. In everything we do, the good we seek for ourselves is what we desire for all people everywhere.
Thank you, Jackson. You are my reflection, and I am your reflection. We are all one with that divine. Let us think about that for a moment, that each and every one of us is an individualized expression of the divine. There is nothing separating us from that one. We are just a microcosm of that macrocosm. Take a moment now as we go into that deep part of us that connects with the one, as we reflect on these words. I am your reflection, and you are my reflection.
Oh, that was amazing. I like the part about standing on a beachhead and all of our lives are behind us, and we're so much more than we seem, and we have no idea how much more we are. So, welcome to Advent. This is something I remember celebrating for years. As I was growing up as a Catholic kid, we always celebrated Advent, and it was part of the anticipation of the holiday season, which in my case was always, Christmas, because I was raised Catholic. So I have decided that this year we get to celebrate Advent together. And part of that is lighting the Advent wreath, which is right here. Now, the Advent wreath, it's the beginning of the church calendar in many Christian denominations. It has to do with celebrating the anticipation of the Christ coming into form, specifically as Jesus for Christians, but as all of us. And so we're going to start with my version of the prayer. Just pull it from here. And the prayer is, infinite being, this flame of hope that we light in the darkness dances on our Advent wreath. It's trying to dance. And within each of our hearts as well. We are grateful for the gift of hope, the flower that blooms from the ground of faith. We joyfully keep the tradition of ages past as we encircle our Advent wreath with love and prayerful expectation. May this Advent season bring us a new birth of faith in the ancient promises living in the Christ mind. And so it is. So, to some people that just looks like lighting some candles. For some people that has deep meaning. And one of the great things about being a religious scientist is that we get to take all of those words and all of those activities and all of these holidays and make them mean whatever works for us. And I came across a great example of that. This bowl looks pretty empty. Doesn't look like much from the inside, right? This bowl probably had pride of place on somebody's table. This bowl might be something that somebody was very proud of creating back in 1890. So over the past 130 years, this bowl has probably meant a lot of things to a lot of people. Maybe for somebody, it was the bowl that held all of their least favorite vegetables. Maybe it was the bowl that somebody ate ice cream out of with their very favorite person in the world. It doesn't matter, because right now, this bowl is in my hands and I will do with it as I please. I will make it work for me. See, it still holds water. It still holds ice cream. It's not cracked. There are no holes in it. So as a religious scientist, what I know is that I take the mold and I pour the meaning into it. And so whether you celebrate Christmas or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa, whether this month is just another month for you or it's the one you look forward to all year, you get to decide how it's going to feel. Now, we have ways of taking the sting out of any ritual or any holiday that has painful meaning for you. And that's called our Blue Christmas service. Now, it's named for the song, but it's really all about getting together and acknowledging that this may not be the easiest time for some people, that we're saying goodbye to a year that might have been difficult, that perhaps you lost someone or something that that is hanging on your heart so heavily that you're not able to let go of it in order to be at peace at least. And so we'll be doing that Wednesday, and I really hope you'll join us. In the original version of Advent, I learned them as the 4 weeks leading up to Christmas. It was the 4 Sundays that ended with the 24th. Now, that would mean that we actually have 2 candles lit. Unless you're an Orthodox Christian, in which case they start a week early, so we get 3. So I claimed the Orthodox Christian for a minute just so I could light more candles. That's because they use a different calendar. So this whole tradition of Advent actually started way back in the 4th century. And it was the 40 days leading up to Epiphany, or the day that the Magi were celebrated as having arrived where Mary and the baby and Joseph were. Joseph gets left out of a lot. So that has taken on new meaning every time. So now we ended at Christmas. Now we ended on the 24th of December. Before it ended on whenever Epiphany is. In historical context, the first purple candle, which is this one, is the candle of hope. When we are starting on a journey, we start with the feeling of hope that maybe we can move forward. Maybe there's more to do or to be or to have than what we see right here. The next candle is also purple. It's the candle of preparation. What do we need to do? What do we need to let go of or accept in order to truly celebrate the entrance of the Christ into our lives? The third one is the candle of love. No, I'm sorry, this is the candle of joy, the pink one. Joy is what happens when we start feeling the presence of the divine. It's not the same as happiness. There's a difference. Joy isn't attached to any particular event in the physical world. It is entirely about sensing a greater presence, that we are not alone, that the thing that we have prepared for, we now recognize as present. The last candle is the last purple one, and that is the candle of love. When we accept the Christ being as fully present, as an intricate and immediate part of every single cell of our bodies and every moment of our lives, that is when there is nothing left to feel but love. It is absolutely the truth of our being. So here are some things to remember. As religious scientists, we don't believe Jesus is the only Christ. We believe he is one of many teachers who have come to this planet over the course of history and in all the different cultures in order to be a teacher. And that's why we call him the master teacher. He taught us that everything he supposedly did, we shall do and more. He taught us that the kingdom of heaven, that perfect place, is actually already inside of us. He taught us that we have the ability to heal, that we have power to change circumstances, that we have the ability to define our own reality and make it work for us. No matter what has gone before, we get to make that decision. And so there's power in this anticipation. There's power in this practice of Advent, where we can spend 40 days or 28 as it is now. We can spend that time allowing ourselves to be reminded, to change our minds about what is the center of our lives, to remember that the Christ simply means one who is anointed for a specific task. And so in this time of Advent, we prepare to do that task, whatever it might be. Ernest Holmes wrote that Christ is the embodiment of divine sonship, which has come with varying degrees of power to all people in all ages and to every person in some degree. Christ is the universal presence. So each and every one of us is a Christ, and we feel it to the degree that we allow it in. We feel it to the degree that we decide we're in charge of that and start claiming our Christedness. Some people will call it the Buddha mind. Some people will call it Brahman. Some people will simply experience it as what a psychologist would call an internal locus of control. Simply, we are self, capital S self, referenced. So I go within and check the Christ within me when I want to make a decision, when I want to know what to prepare for, what is mine to do. I go within and check the Divine Mother, Father, God in me to know what is my next step. What do I need to let go of? What do I need to include as a part of my life in order that I may live as a fully Christed being, or in Christian terms, to accept Jesus as the Christ on Christmas, to allow the miracle of incarnation to happen. Now, Meister Eckhart, to paraphrase Meister Eckhart, it doesn't do us any good if Jesus was born 2,000 years ago, if the Christ is not born in our hearts all the time. And so in this season of Advent, I encourage you to allow yourself to start feeling the anticipation, to start feeling the incoming joy and love that is absolutely yours for the taking. I encourage you to start preparing the way in your own mind to recognize the Christ within you. It's always been there. It is fully present. It's just not fully experienced by all of us. And in this time when turmoil seems to be the only choice we have, I encourage you to join me in claiming peace. I encourage you to join me in saying, peace be still to all of the storms, and allowing ourselves to be okay, to be filled with joy, to be filled with love, and to let that be the truth of our universal sonship or daughtership. See, what we're doing really by lighting these candles, and there are so many holidays right now and so many things that light candles, what we're really doing is lighting the path to the Christ within us, symbolically creating a means by which we can go within and discover the kingdom of God or goddess, whichever works for you. And so I ask you to join me now in one of our most powerful tools to create this particular type of wide and easy path. And that is called spiritual mind treatment. What we do is accept that God is all there is and know that the good that we have claimed is absolutely ours because we're part of that Godness. And so if you're comfortable doing so, please close your eyes or just get comfortable with wherever you are in the room, however you're standing or sitting. And I'm going to close my eyes because it helps me to see with the internal eye and not be distracted by the outer one. And I breathe in the truth that there is a single power and presence in the universe, that it's experiencing the universe as each and every one of us, that this thing we call God, the divine infinite being, has taken on form, has incarnated as this universe and everyone and everything in it. And so as part of that Godness, as part of that goodness, I stand in witness to the goodness of the whole world, to the divinity, to the Christedness of all beings everywhere. And as I stand in that light of truth, I accept that the old fears, the old lies about separation from our good, the old misunderstandings about who and what we really are, the depth and power of our own magnificent souls, all of those misunderstandings, all of those small ideas simply fade back into the nothingness from which they came. They are the shadows in the presence of the light. They simply cease to be. And so in its place, I stand in the light. In place of that darkness, I stand in the absolute light of truth. I know that the way is made easy before me, that the path is clear and simple, that my choice to be prepared for the Christedness of my life is echoed by every other being that can hear my voice. I know and claim for each and every one of us a greater experience of our Christedness, a greater experience of the light that shines in the darkness, that this light that lives within us is the indwelling perfection of Christ that guides our every step and our every word. I know that because this is the truth, there is nothing I can do to mess it up. All I can do is try to ignore it, but that light is undeniable. And so I am so grateful that that light is steadfast, that the Spirit has been fully present all along, in, through, and as each and every one of us. I'm so grateful to know that all of this is something I stand witness to. I don't have to effort it into being. I just let the law of cause and effect work, like the law of gravity, like the law of every kind of energy. I just let it be. And if this is something you can agree with, if this has landed with you, I invite you to say with me, and so it is.